Welcome to Epictales universe, where the oldest voices still speak, and where ancient stories continue to shape how we see the world. If you believe that myths hold timeless truths, and that legends are never just tales but mirrors of our souls, you are in the right place. Subscribe, like, and join us as we step into one of the most famous stories ever told, the story of Pandora's box. Long ago, when the world was still new, and gods walked among the mountains and seas, humanity lived in an age of innocence. It was said to be the Golden Age, a time when people did not know suffering. They did not toil, nor feel hunger, nor ache with sorrow. Life was simple, bright, and full. But such ages do not last. For even in eternity, change stirs. The Titan Prometheus, whose name means forethought, defied Zeus, the great king of the gods. Out of love for mankind, Prometheus stole fire from Olympus and carried it down to the earth. With it, men could cook, forge, create, and survive. It was a gift, but to Zeus it was a theft, a challenge to his authority, a dangerous spark in the hands of mortals. Zeus was not forgiving. He devised a plan, not only to punish Prometheus, but to bring a lasting trial upon mankind. Punishment for their boldness, balance for their stolen fire. From this plan came Pandora. She was the first mortal woman, created not from the womb, but by divine hands. Hephaestus, the craftsman god, molded her from earth and clay, shaping her body with care. Athena clothed her in silken robes and taught her skill with her hands. Aphrodite breathed beauty into her, gifting her with charm and grace to stir desire in men's hearts. Hermes gave her cunning and a mind quick with words. And Zeus himself bestowed her with curiosity, a spark that would burn bright and dangerous within her soul. Pandora, her name means all gifted, was indeed a gift, but she was also a trap. For in her hands she carried something more than beauty. She carried a vessel, not truly a box as later stories would call it, but a jar, epictales, sealed tight, given by Zeus. She was told never to open it. So Pandora was sent to Earth, to live among men, her beauty dazzling, her presence captivating. And with her came the jar. For a while, she lived happily, admired and beloved. But the gods had not made her curiosity in vain. The jar weighed on her thoughts. What could be inside? Why was it forbidden? Could it be treasure? A gift? A blessing waiting to be shared? Day by day, the temptation grew until one moment, perhaps small, perhaps inevitable, she lifted the lid, and the world changed. From the jar poured forth shadows, unseen and unstoppable. Pestilence, disease and hunger, grief, envy and toil, hatred, war and death. Sickness took root, old age began its march, and the innocence of humanity was stripped away. All the suffering we know, all the pain and cruelty and despair, they spilled into the world that day. Pandora, terrified, tried to close the jar, but it was too late. The spirits had fled, scattering into every corner of the earth. Only one thing remained within, clinging to the edge of the vessel. It was Elpis, hope, soft, quiet, fragile, but still shining. Pandora closed the jar with trembling hands, sealing hope inside. And because of this, even as men suffer, they do not despair entirely. Hope lives, even if hidden, even if small. The last gift left for humanity. So the myth is told. But myths are never only one story. They are rivers, flowing into many streams. Some say hope was left in the jar to comfort us, to remind us that even in the darkest hours, we are not abandoned. Others argue that hope, too, is a deception, that by keeping us waiting, it prolongs our suffering. A promise that may never come true, and yet still keeps us reaching. Was hope a blessing, or another curse? The Greeks themselves debated it. And who was Pandora? To some, she is the bringer of all evil, the one who unleashed misery upon humankind. To others, she is a victim of the gods' schemes, created with a nature she could not escape, punished for curiosity, a trait given to her by Zeus himself. In her, we see the struggle of innocence against manipulation, of a mortal caught in the games of immortals. Her story echoes the story of Eve in the Garden of Eden, a woman given beauty, tempted by a forbidden thing, blamed for the fall of mankind. Two tales from different lands, carrying the same shadows of how cultures saw the feminine, as both life-giver and danger, both wonder and downfall, but also as the bearer of wisdom, change, and the first question. Art remembers Pandora in many ways. Vase paintings show her opening the jar, wonder and horror on her face. Poets described her as the beautiful evil, the trap no man could resist. Later ages softened her, turning the jar into a box and seeing her less as curse than as symbol. Today, she is remembered not as a monster but as a mirror, the one whose curiosity made the world harder, but also more human. For what are we if not curious? What are we if not seekers of what lies beyond the sealed door? Curiosity is danger, but it is also discovery. Without it, there would be no fire, no learning, no art, no story. Perhaps, in Pandora's trembling hands, we see not only a curse but also the beginning of humanity's long journey. Painful, yes, but filled with the possibility of hope. And so the story of Pandora's box remains timeless. It tells us why the world is as it is, full of suffering, yet never without hope. It tells us to be cautious, and yet it reminds us that curiosity is at the core of what it means to be alive. Was Pandora the enemy of man, or his first teacher? Did she bring ruin, or did she give us the strength to endure? The answer, like the jar itself, is both sealed and unsealed. Thank you for joining us today in Epic Tales Universe, where stories like this remind us of who we are and why we search for meaning in the old myths. If you found wonder in this tale, please like this video, share it with others who love timeless legends, and subscribe to the channel for more journeys into the ancient, the mysterious, and the eternal. Because even in the oldest stories, hope still waits,